Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Professor Bopper. It's weird, this is the first time I've done the introduction as Professor Bopper and not as Booty Bopper, but it's where we are. There's a community post going into why the name change, so check that out if you don't already know. So, today, we're finally getting to the second half of the questions that I got for the 5,000 subscriber Q&A. Now, we're already at 6,000 subscribers because it took me a while to get to this to find the time to record, but you know, it is what it is, and again, thank you all, thank you everybody for all of your support and for subscribing, for tuning in, for asking these questions, for just being a part of this channel. It means so much to me. So, part of this Q&A was a giveaway for the Switch re-release of Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. I have already done that. Selected a name. Go check the comment section on the previous video, on the announcement video where you all asked the questions. I will have responded to the winner telling you how to contact me and that you have gotten it. If I do not receive a response within a couple days, or you decide that you don't want it, then I will pick the second person in line. They'll be the winner for the copy of Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light. But we've got questions to get to. Today's all the life questions and the questions that are not specifically Fire Emblem related. Last time we did mostly the Fire Emblem questions. Today we're going to do the different questions. So we're going to start with Jared in a box asking, "What's up?" Not much. Just trying to get by. Just trying to get by day to day, you know. Have a good day every day. That's sort of the goal, as much as that's possible. And I hope you're having a good day too, Jared in a box. Star Wars Fanboy, he asks, "What made you want to start YouTube? And has your motivation for making videos changed since you got a following?" So, I've made videos on YouTube on and off since 2011, so for about 9 years. Most of them are on another channel that I used that is dead now. I'm not going to direct you to it. That was just mostly very low quality Let's Play videos from when I was in middle school and then high school, and I uploaded on it infrequently. It never went anywhere. And then on this channel, I uploaded like a handful of videos. I uploaded the Lickitung trilogy, you know, a couple years ago. Did like different things like top 5 characters we want for Smash DLC, and mostly these were just fun memes for me and my friends, the people you all know as, you know, Midnight Cowboy, Iron Colon, and X-Zero X-Man. Mostly, you know, for them. So that was sort of the... It was just that sort of attitude. I didn't have any intention on making it on YouTube. Although I'm not going to act like I didn't, you know, want those videos to like catch on. Those videos never did catch on because they are, they're bad. But, but when the COVID-19 pandemic started, and we were going into the initial phases of the first lockdown, I got into an arms race a little bit with Midnight Cowboy over making video essays, because he decided he wanted to make one, and I had a bunch of scripts that I'd written throughout the years for different videos or podcasts that I wanted to do. I'd always had like the desire to do it, just never could push myself to take it to that, you know, completing it, that stage of like getting it done. And so I made a video on Code Vein. Again, it went nowhere, but I had fun making it. So I just started doing some Let's Play videos. Thracia 776, I did this run of Shadow Dragon where I didn't use any, I could only use characters that had, that did not have A's in their names. Dumb run, but it means like your only characters you can use are like Gordon and Dolph. So, you know, that was fun. And then I just made a handful of videos that were about, video essays about Fire Emblem. The hard mode video and the Jagan video were the two that I made that just sort of sat around 300, 400 views for a long time until one week they just randomly blew up, and now here we are. So the motivation for making videos has changed quite a bit since then. It's still really fun. I still have a ton of fun doing it, and I want to keep doing it, and I keep writing scripts, and I have so many different scripts, so much different backlog, but there's only so much I can do, and there's only so much Nin, the editor for this channel, can do. So it definitely gets bottlenecked by our time that we have. But now I feel more, obligated to do it. Like I have patrons that I gotta, get content out for. I've got you all. I want to give you all stuff to watch. So there is like I feel an obligation to keep going, but not in a negative way. Like that sounds negative, but I feel more dedicated to it, to keeping a consistent schedule, to making sure that I'm spending, 30 minutes to an hour every single day working on the next scripted video. And I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. This gets into another question, the next question that was asked by Falcon Kirby, what motivated you to create a channel and who's your biggest inspiration? I already talked about motivation a little bit, but who's your biggest inspiration? And then Falcon Kirby's other question of which YouTube channels do you enjoy watching? Well, there are a lot of YouTube channels I like. I was not big on Fire Emblem YouTube, on FETube, before joining it. I didn't know anything. A lot of the people that I've, come to have very good relationships with, people like Speedy, or the meme fight, the meme rivalry that I have with like Link King, because Genealogy's a bad game. Those things kind of came, but I didn't know who any of them were before joining the community as a creator. So most of my influences are outside of Fire Emblem YouTube. People like Mark Brown, H Bomber Guy, and then beyond that, a lot of the YouTube I watch other than them is ContraPoints, Three Arrows, Sean. For your more newsy type stuff, Secular Talk, Humanist Report, Rational National, that type of stuff. Beyond that, for just the video games, already went over some of them. I watched, Mecha was the one Fire Emblem YouTuber that I did watch before joining the community as a creator. Don151 as well was the other one. Those were the two within Fire Emblem that I watched and continue to watch. So those are just some YouTube channels as well that I enjoy. I didn't go through all of them. I could go through my list of like subscriptions, but I don't want to bog this down with name drops. If I remember something throughout this video that I think is underrated, someone who I think like Patricia Taxon or Michael Brooks, who unfortunately passed away, Jack Saint, John Boyce, he's a guy, I've talked about John Boyce a lot. But if you've never watched John Boyce, you've never watched Chart Party, you've never watched The Fumble Dimension or Dorktown, go watch John Boyce's videos. If you're not into sports, it might seem off-putting at first, but this guy makes some of the best stuff on YouTube. His videos are art. And it is from him that I was inspired. One of the sayings comes that has sort of become iconic a little bit on this channel, which is ignore the odds and they go away. That comes from John Boyce's poker video. So go watch John Boyce. You might have seen his co-host. I always forget his co-host names. His co-host name for Dorktown, but you might have seen him on Brian David Gilbert. He's the guy that did like when they did the Dodgeball Infinite Runner, if you've seen that. Brian David Gilbert's another guy that I like to watch on YouTube. And then Philosophy Tube, Jose, you can sort of see where I stand on a lot of things based off of that list, but you can tell that, from everybody. So then we've got Mark Armstrong is asking, what is your personal creative process? How do you get inspiration for your vids? And I'm going to fold this in with a question asked by him, which is, what inspired you to start uploading again 7 to 8 months ago? Now, on that question, I already talked about it as an arms race with Midnight Cowboy, wanting to create video essays. But partly it's because of my creative process that inspired me. You know, I write. I like writing. That's the thing that I like to do. And so I'll sit down, I'll write a script, I'll come up with something for a video. You know, and I've got a ton of scripts lying around. And then I just sort of decide which one I want to go with, which one I want to revise, which one I want to kind of figure out. And it's very of the moment. Part of why there'll be a big rush of videos on this channel and then like a little lull where there's not so many is because my creative process is all over the place. You know, if I get into a big writing kick, I'm just going to be writing. If I get into a big, like, I want to play the games kick, I want to be recording footage all day for different games that I think I'm going to want to make, you know, a video on at some point. Sometimes I really want to do the voice recording. Sometimes I really want to edit. So it's just all over the place. It's whatever I feel like. It's a very ADHD creative process, but it's whatever I'm inspired to do at the time. And I have found that my work tends to be a little better if I'm not forcing myself to do it, if I'm just doing what I feel like doing at the time, what I feel the inspiration is. And the good thing that has helped on this is that since the main thing I'm usually wanting to do is write, you know, having Nin, who once again I'm going to shout out, also going to shout out Corbo, who's working on an excellent video for me, as well as that having, you know, an editor has definitely helped this creative process a lot, because editing is the part I struggle with the most. It's sort of a meme. Not that I'm a bad editor for, like, video. It's a meme that I can't edit sound. Like, people say it wouldn't be a Bopper video without horrific sound design. So that part of the creative process has definitely helped be expedited a lot. And I get to focus more on the stuff I really, really enjoy doing, which is writing, and then by extension, you know, getting to record. So, Ostrakani asks, what's your favorite video you've made so far? It would be my Earthbound video. Go back and watch the Earthbound video if you've never seen it. Most people have not seen it. It's the video I'm most proud of, and then if you step below that, it's going to be the Pokemon video that I made back in November. Those videos mean a lot to me, just emotionally. It's purely an emotional attachment to those works that cause me to love them so much. Anton Nielsen asks, what made me pursue my field of study, which was English? He says he's a philosophy major, so good luck on that, Anton. Hope you're doing good in that degree. I never took a philosophy class in college, so I don't know what it's like. So hopefully it's, you know, a good time for you. So why did I go into English? Well, I don't really remember why. It just seemed like the thing to do. It was what I wanted to do at the time. I liked reading, I liked writing, so I was like, hey, why not? And it sort of worked out. I think looking back, I probably would have rather have done history, just because in my profession, which is teaching, as I've talked about before, I think I've had more enjoyment when I've gotten to teach history than I have with English, so I think I sort of misinterpreted what I would enjoy doing. So the English major itself was fun, but that's because I thought I'd have the most fun teaching English, when actually I think it would have been other. Not that I don't like it or anything, I do actually really enjoy it, but that was sort of the crux, was I was predicting what I thought I would like. And then Claude Von Regan sort of follows up on that by asking, what do you teach? These are all the, like, professional questions that we've got coming up. And I teach English, I also teach humanities, like art, history, that sort of thing. And then Emma the Scientist is going to ask, what was the deciding factor that made me become a teacher? An English teacher specifically. Well, I already said the English part is because that's what I thought I would like doing, but to become a teacher itself had to do with... there's this film from like 1994 called Hoop Dreams that is going to come up later in this Q&A that everyone should go watch, because it is unbelievable. It is terrific. And it was after seeing that documentary that I decided to go into teaching. It's not a movie about teaching at all. It just made me decide that that's what I'm wanted to do after I saw it. Hoop Dreams is incredible, but I'll talk about it more when it comes up in a later question. So Patrick Stoyles is going to ask, from teacher to teacher, how do you get past posting content and being yourself without fearing your students finding you? The thing about this, Patrick, I'm just going to say, you know, is that is a trouble that you're going to have with most professions. I think teaching kind of hypes up the difficulties of doing that. But the thing is that you just got to do what you enjoy doing. Like, that's my philosophy, is that I wanted to make videos. And that sounded like a hobby that I would enjoy. So I went and did it. Because, you know, this is my only chance too. It's not like I'm going to be alive again at another point. So you just got to do what you got to do, and you can't apologize for having, you know, a good time. You got to respect boundaries. I don't give my in real life name. I don't, you know, have my face out there. I don't talk about, you know, the people that I work with. I respect the privacy of, you know, where I live and of who I work with and of, you know, myself, so that there is a very clear barrier, you know, on that. But you just got to do you, man, because you got to live the life you want. It's very hard to find fulfillment, and so you do it whatever way you can, and you can't apologize for it. So Chaz B says, do or did any of your students know you have a YouTube channel? No, and they're not going to find out. And I'm not talking about it. I never talk about it with anyone, which gets into someone asking, Cap2000 asks, what would I do if a student popped up into one of my streams and like asked me a question? Like, I'm talking about Daddy Doosel, and they asked me, yo, what up, Professor Bopper? What's the homework for today? Well, first thing I'm gonna say about that is that I don't like homework. I don't do homework because we're in school. You know, we're in school for 8 hours a day. That's trash. That's awful. As long as you do your work and you're doing everything you need to be doing while you're in school, I'm respecting your time at home. You need that alone time. You need that time to yourself. You need that time to be with your family, to be with your friends, to be with yourself, to not be stressed out. You need that time. So I don't do homework. It's all homework is a way to reinforce the idea that your life should be just about work, 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 productivity, 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 when that's a very misanthropic view of what humans are capable of and what we should be doing with our lives. So I'm going to say that. Like, no one's going to ever ask me what we're doing for homework in a day. So I would probably just ignore the question. I'm going to be honest, because I wouldn't know how I would respond if somebody asked me a question. And then Cap goes on to say, like, he was just wondering because he always wondered what his high school teachers did in their spare time. See, the thing is that people always just assume we sort of fold ourselves up and lock ourselves away in the filing, you know, cabinet. I've been out and about and seen, like, people that I work with, and the first thing I do is, like, hide. I'll, like, if I'm in, like, a store, I jump in the clothes rack. I'm like, oh, God, no one can see me here. This is not happening here. No. So people, people are, it's so weird to think about. But all the people that you like interact with on like a professional level or on like a kid to adult level or a teenager to adult level, like we're all just people, man. And it's so hard to sometimes keep that in perspective. That's what I think about on the homework thing. It's like, you know, we're just people trying to get by, just trying to make it day to day. We got our own things we got to do. We got our own things we want to do, and it's important to respect each other in that way. Some sarcastic mage asks, what the fuck are you going to do when someone inevitably recognizes your voice and questions why you thought Booty Bopper was a suitable name? Now, that question's outdated because, like I said earlier, we're no longer Booty Bopper. We're now Professor Bopper. But that's for the reason, partly, is because I don't want to be tied to the name Booty Bopper. It wasn't even like whether or not it was a suitable username. It was a joke username. This gets into Jameson Sather's question of why Booty Bopper. And Booty Bopper was a name that I came up with a very long time ago as a joke for, I don't even remember what game it was. Maybe Unsupervised Apprentices or something. But it came from that as a joke. And then when I made like a couple of joke YouTube videos, I put them under the name Booty Bopper. And then it sort of became the name that I used for like Discord and different things. And it just sort of stuck around. And it wasn't until I got a following that I actually thought about it and had to change it, unfortunately. I'll always have a special place in my heart, though, for that name, Booty Bopper. And most people, if you were part of the 6K club, the first 6,000 people here to subscribe, you're probably always going to know me as Booty Bopper. So the name will live on, but we had to move on. And then Mountain Pog, Mountain Play of the Game asks, have you ever thought about changing your username? Since it's kind of a defining part of your channel, for better or for worse. Well, we already changed it. And I think it's for the better. And all the metadata of this channel up to this point is tied to Booty Bopper, so people searching it are still going to find me. Then we got some questions from, I believe this is the Rock Smasher. I forgot to mark who did this. So I'm pretty sure this is you, Rock Smasher. But if it's not, I apologize. He asked, what do you think of winter? Winter is my favorite season. I love the snow. I think the snow is absolutely beautiful. And there's nothing better than it. And, you know, living in Kentucky, we have very inconsistent weather. Our climate is sort of all messed up. I mean, the climate everywhere is getting messed up like more and more every year. But ours is whack because winter, you'll go from a 70-degree day to a 20-degree day. It was 70 degrees outside yesterday, and right now it is, let me double check. I think it's 5 degrees outside right now. I think we had like a 65-degree shift from one day to the next. Okay, it's warmed up a little bit as we've gotten into like later in the day. It's up to about 25, but it, you know, that's a 50-degree shift. But that true winter experience, that snow out there, I love it. And then he asks, where do you want to travel to? Anywhere in the world? Probably Australia. I want to go to the Outback. I want to see the night sky in the Outback. That seems transcendent. And then we got some questions from Ricardo Narvaez Loyola asking, what are your favorite franchises? Any other hobbies and interests? Actually, was that Ricardo's question? It might still be Rock Smasher. So I'll credit it to both of you all. So, what are my other favorite franchises? That'd be things like Resident Evil is a big one. Castlevania, really like. Mother, Pikmin. Those are awesome. I wouldn't say Zelda's like one of my favorite, but I enjoy the Zelda games. Enjoy, you know, Kirby. Like, there's a lot of franchises I enjoy, but if we're talking like on the level of Fire Emblem, things that I would consider like a favorite, that's probably just Resident Evil. Even though a lot of the Resident Evil games are kind of shit, I still really like them. And any other hobbies and interests? Well, I'm primarily like the movie guy. Like that's what people know me as outside of like YouTube. You know, I did part of my degree in college was international film. So if you want any movie recommendations, you want to know anything about, you want like Japanese film recommendations, you want some old school silent movie recommendations, you want some like golden age Hollywood recommendation, I hook you up, get you with those good pieces of cinema. That's what I know. That's sort of my big hobby. And then of course reading, obviously. I love to get books and put them on my bookshelf and make it look like I'm really smart, but I actually don't even know how to read. But that tends to be, you know, I think we all do that a little bit. And then Ricardo Narvaez Loyola goes on to ask, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that name, by the way. You said that they beat your southern accent out of you. How do you do that? Also, do people in Kentucky have southern accents? So he put they in quotation marks, so I'm going to specify who they are. They would be like elementary school education, so like kindergarten, and also like parents, family. There's this saying, I don't know if it's common everywhere, but it was like, don't say ain't, your mother will faint, your father will fall in a bucket of paint. This whole idea of, you know, don't say ain't, that ain't proper. That ain't proper English. You don't want to say that. Don't say the word ain't. It's a big part of our accent. And a lot of it comes from this idea that people who live in the South, people who live in Kentucky are uneducated. Anybody who talks like that is uneducated, which is a ridiculously stupid idea. It is ridiculously stupid to tie somebody's intelligence to the way they sound and the way they talk. Because language changes and language is different all over the place. In fact, if you think that someone's accent is an indication of their intelligence level, you're an idiot. Just gonna throw that out there. And so the way you do that is just by constant negative reinforcement. Punish, you know, kids for speaking in certain ways, for getting their yee-haw in there, and all that. And their ain'ts, and their yonders, and their y'alls, and all that. There's been a reclamation effort, in Kentucky at least, to make people proud of saying y'all, as we should be. And do people in Kentucky have a heavy accent? Yes. It's heavier the more rural you are, though that goes for a lot of areas. In the South, the more urban you get, the less heavy the accent is. But even with my accent, which has been filed down significantly over the course of my life, most people are still able to tell that I'm from the South, because there are people that come into my chats sometime and they're like, dude, like, what kind of fucking, like, stupid ass redneck motherfucker are you? Do you know, like, any good barbecue? And so when we get into Kentucky cuisine, and it's great. John Schooners asks, as a fellow Kentuckian, I'm curious how many times you've heard the phrase yee yee. Well, I hear it a lot. Not as much as I used to. There are some people that I talk to that were more yee-yeeing, but most of the people that I talk to now have, like, are from out of state. So I don't hear it as much anymore. But definitely back in, like, high school and in college, and sometimes, you know, at school now, I will hear yee-yee, but it's not very often anymore, which I'm kind of sad about. I feel like it was a fad saying, at least in the part of Kentucky I live in. Then we got a couple more questions. Let me actually double check who asked these, because I don't want to not credit the genius, the person who's very excited on this. So we have Wheaties asked, do you own a body pillow, and of whom? Yes, actually, and it's Dusel. Surprisingly, you'd think it'd be Gilliam, but it's actually Dusel. I just like a big, thick, firm body pillow, something to really rest my body against. Wheaties also asked, what's your favorite Xenoblade character? I have not played Xenoblade since like 2011, when it first came out for the Wii in the US. And I played a little bit of the definitive edition that Midnight Cowboy has. But I got about 75% of the way through Xenoblade back in 2011. So I don't remember much, but we gotta go Rhine. You gotta go Rhine, because it's Rhine time. And then we have Keldeo05 asking favorite and least favorite animal. Well, it's hard to have a least favorite animal, I feel. I don't know, maybe some people do have a least favorite animal, but I'm gonna assume that the Caldeo here is asking about, like, non-pets, because I don't want, like, I don't want to just say dog. So we're going to go elephant. I love elephants. I think they're really funny. I think they're really cute. I like their gigantic ears. I think they're very silly looking creatures with a big long trunk. and just the fat, lumbering body. I love elephants. Every time I go to the zoo, it's always got to see the elephants. Got to spend way too much time looking at the elements. Elephants. And then Patrick Stoyles once again hitting us up with some... The question, is there a Mr. or Mrs. Bopper in your life? Well, there is a Mrs. Bopper. And she is colloquially known on this channel as Sun My Buns, doing a good portion of the yaoi fan art that we get on this channel. Dabney72 asks, is a hot dog a sandwich? Hell no. You crazy? Coming at me with that kind of question, hot dog sandwich? Don't even suggest that, bro. It's a cursed thought. Dector A asking, what kind of music do you listen to? So, music, we're going to go with, obviously, you know, rock, you know, things like the Strokes, Arctic Monkeys, you know, sometimes the Smiths if I hate myself, sometimes Jeff Buckley if I hate myself but don't want to listen to, you know, don't want to be reminded of who Morrissey is as a person. Country music, you know, Justin Townes Earl, Steve Earle, his father, Lucero, Ben Nichols, oh, why am I blanking on the name? Jason Isbell, American Aquarium. These are some good groups. You know, Daft Punk. You know, you go in more jazzy. You want some Kamasi Washington. My mouth is starting to like boil over. I'm trying to drink faster than the mouth drag that's going on, but it's not working. The Beatles, of course. Always great. Post-rock is an excellent genre. Godspeed You Black Emperor is probably the big one everybody knows, but never forget Silent Well Becomes a Dream. Canopy's a great album. You know, so a lot of different stuff when it comes to music. Rap, of course. You know, Danny Brown is probably my favorite rapper. Beyond him, you know, obviously, you know, actually a lot of stuff. I don't want to get this to be too much of a list, but you know, Elvis, of course, if you're feeling classic, but not Confidence. Confidence is a great song. Go listen to Elvis Confidence. You can hear it in my Sacred Stone's Death highlight video. Andrew says, other than Fire Emblem, what are some things you do to pass time? Well, mostly watch movies. If I'm not making videos, I've had less time to do things like that because I've spent so much time dedicated to this channel. But if I'm not doing something like that, I'm probably watching a movie or watching TV or reading a book. It's probably what I'm doing. If it's like things that I do to pass my alone time. Jude Lovelace asks, or Jude Lawless as I like to call him, what's your favorite book and or favorite play? Well, favorite book gotta be The Plague by Albert Camus. That book destroyed me completely. And that was before COVID that I read The Plague. I can't imagine reading it now, what that must, you know, be like. As far as favorite play goes, I don't know. I have to get back to you on that one. I didn't think about that one. So then we got Highcomb asks, what piece of media you think impacted your life the most? That would be Hoop Dreams, which is an excellent documentary about two kids growing up in Chicago, following them from their 8th grade to their first year of college. It's a fantastic film. Salt King asks, what's your favorite anime/manga you feel you haven't talked about enough? Well, there's 2 nominations for that. One would be Gankutsuya, the Count of Monte Cristo, and the other would be Welcome to the NHK. Both terrific animes that you should read. And I actually don't think it's a surprise that neither of them are based off of a manga. Both of them are based off of novels. And Here's something I'm going to say that's a hot take. Anime is better served when it is not based off of a manga or when it deviates heavily from its source material. I think being overly faithful to a manga can create pretty mediocre anime. It takes something very special with a very specific, view to do it. There are, of course, obviously exceptions to that. I've been enjoying Hunter x Hunter. I've been watching it. Don't know how faithful that is to the manga. And the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure anime is pretty faithful to the manga. And that's, awesome. But, that might just be because of... JoJo just looks good in motion, and it looks good in still frames. It's so good. But welcome to the NHK and Gankutsuo. Everybody, I would recommend it to. Go check them out, see if it's the type of thing you could dig. Welcome to the NHK is a much more grounded drama. It's a comedy drama. It feels a little bit of its time of early 2000s in terms of the tone that it's going for, but it is terrific and moving, and it has one of my favorite lines of dialogue in history, which is, "You don't have to take your shoes off if you don't want to." I'm not going to give away the context of that line, but it is one of the best lines of dark comedy ever. And then Gankutsuo is the Count of Monte Cristo, the novel, but like made kind of weird and sci-fi. But they do a lot of twists to that original story to make it feel like an original adaptation that really adds a lot and is distinct from its source material. Just incredible show, and very beautiful show too for its style. It has a lot of cheap-ass, terrible CGI, but the style is gorgeous. Hi, Colmaso asks if I could show a picture of my doggo. I have done a dog reveal on Discord, so check out the Discord if you want to go see the doggo. Ronnie Shaw asks, how old are you? 24. November birthday. Justin Schreiber asks a couple questions. He says, do you have any sort of guiding philosophy for what you want to do in life? Well, my guiding philosophy would be the Camus philosophy that he lays out in Myth of Sisyphus, which is that life is absurd and life has no meaning. But instead of sinking into despair from that fact, we should pursue the things that we want to do and enjoy lives. Be defiant. He says in it, we have to imagine Sisyphus happy. Sisyphus being the guy that's pushing up the boulder endlessly in mythology. He says we have to imagine him happy. I take that to the level of, and the way he goes with it is that, even if life is meaningless and we're going to be forgotten and we're not going to be here for very long and our world is messed up, we need to do everything we can to make the world better and to live the best lives that we possibly can that fulfill us the most. It's also very powerful because he's one of the few philosophers that both acknowledges the terribleness of the world while also having a positive outlook on it and what we can do. So very influential on me. On a less deep note, what is your favorite food? Chicken wings. That's easy. Ascended Bagels, a legend. He's hitting us up with, what is your most unusual / favorite skill or talent that you have? I don't know how unusual it is, but, I'm ambidextrous, so I guess that counts for something. And then other than being a god gamer, well, he says other than being a god gamer who always makes infallible strategies, that is a very deep and powerful skill. It's I'd give you my secrets, but gotta keep that close to the vest. Close to the chest. What's the saying? I don't know. Idioms are dumb. Stefan asking, what's your favorite non-Fire Emblem games? Already talked about that a little bit. Resident Evil goes into it. One of my favorite games ever, though, that's not a part of a franchise, would be Spec Ops: The Line. That's a terrific game. Not for everybody. Not for everybody. I don't think everybody is I'm not going to say not everybody's built for it. It's not the type of thing that's going to work for everybody, so look into it before you give it a go. Or maybe watch some of it and see what you think. Spec Ops: The Line is terrific. I don't want to say much about it. And other than that, Earthbound. Gotta plug Earthbound every time. Shadow/125 asks, would you dabble with Final Fantasy content? Because besides Fire Emblem, there were also video essays I did about Dark Souls and Pokemon, especially with the GOAT of SRPGs, Final Fantasy Tactics. So Final Fantasy is a series that I like. I'm on and off on it. It depends on like the era of my life. I used to be into it in high school. I played the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't get into Final Fantasy as much anymore. I respect the games that I really like in the series. I respect what 7 did. I really like 4 and 9. Final Fantasy content may be a thing that happens someday. Final Fantasy Tactics is a thing that I think is doomed to happen at some point, but I've never played it. And one of the things I do like about talking about other games is that I often get a more positive outlook on games that maybe I wasn't as warm on from a lot of people, and that tends to help. Joy Panchel asks, when will you play The Walking Simulator? Now, that could be any number of things. Could be Genealogy of the Holy War. Maybe that's sooner than you think. Could be, I don't know, Dear Esther or Firewatch. What's that game? Fire something? I don't know. There's a lot of good walking games out there. Play them. Just not Genealogy. That's an example of a not so good walking game. Mitch Epstein. Do you plan on doing playthroughs and streams of other game series like SMT, Devil Survivor, Cyberpunk, etc.? I don't know about Cyberpunk. Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor maybe someday. Depends on, if I want to go that hardcore into it. Shin Megami Tensei scares me because I only ever played SMT4 and it brutalized me. I never even beat the first dungeon. I literally couldn't. I was that bad at the game. But I do stream other game series. I've done Pokemon Conquest. I've been streaming Resident Evil 4, and I've streamed Dark Souls. So, these are games that, partly it's to prevent me from having burnout. I want to do streams of stuff that are not strategy games, different types of games, every week so that, I don't get burned out on the genre. I've not come close to burning out on Fire Emblem at all, but I want to keep things fresh as possible. This gets into the next couple questions. Are you interested in playing or making videos or streams about Castlevania? I actually do have a video about Castlevania that is coming somewhat, I'm not going to say soon, but it's in there. That question, by the way, came from Falcon Kirby. Then to whatever asks, how long will we have to wait for Pokemon Conquest to be streamed? Negative a month, because I've been doing it. I can't do it until the new computer. I can't finish it until the new computer comes in. But, we have been streaming it to whatever, so you're getting your wish. And it's been a lot of fun, too. And the final question for today from Killamajig is, how has streaming and uploading on YouTube impacted your life? Is your daily routine different now from how it was before your current activity on YouTube? And the answer is yes. It has affected my life quite a bit. It's taken a lot of free time away from me. Streaming 3 times a week definitely affects the times that I can do things. I dedicate more time to writing, more time to communicating with, a lot of other people that were not a part of my life before. People like my editor, other people in the Fire Emblem community, specifically responding to comments, reading comments. So it's been a big shakeup. It's definitely impacted my life quite a bit, but in a good way. It's given me much more focus and direction in a lot of my free time that I've really loved and that has really meant a lot to me. So even though it's taken away from my time, it's given the time that it's taken a lot more, drive. So I've been really, I've really liked it. So that's all the questions today. Getting it done in about 45 minutes. I feel like that's a pretty good time to spend answering some questions. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for being a part of this channel. And hopefully we will continue to have good times and good content moving forward. If you have not joined the Discord, check it out. It's in the description. If you want to be a patron, you can join for as little as $1 a month. You can sign up down below as well. You can follow me on Twitter. All your support, though, even if you're just watching the videos, even if you're not liking, even if you're not commenting, if you're just watching it, thank you so much. It means a lot. And hopefully, one day we can reach that 500,000 subscriber face reveal. Never gonna happen. But maybe someday. I'll see you all next time for some more Fire Emblem content. Check it!